In a quiet town lived a young man named Ethan, full of dreams, yet trapped by his own laziness. Every morning, he promised himself that tomorrow would be different, but tomorrow never came. His books gathered dust, his plans faded, and his confidence slowly disappeared. The days slipped through his fingers like sand, and he began to believe that maybe success just wasn't meant for him. One chilly evening, Ethan wandered to a park where an old man sat beneath a large oak tree, sketching quietly. The old man looked up, smiled, and said, "You look heavy, son, not in body, but in mind." Ethan sat beside him, silently. The old man continued, "Big changes don't happen overnight. They grow from small habits, one act of discipline at a time." That simple moment sparked something inside Ethan. The next morning, instead of sleeping in, he made his bed. Then he read a single page, then two. Slowly, those tiny steps began to shape a new version of himself. And that's when he learned it's not about giant leaps, but the courage to take the smallest step, every single day. Ethan's alarm rang again, for the third time that morning. He lazily stretched his arm, turned it off, and sank deeper into his pillow. The sunlight crept through the thin curtains of his small, untidy room, lighting up a pile of unwashed cups, scattered notebooks, and clothes that hadn't seen the closet in weeks. He whispered to himself, "Just 5 more minutes." Those 5 minutes had become his daily ritual, a promise that never turned into action. Every evening, Ethan sat by his window, staring at people passing by, each moving with purpose: a jogger, a worker, a mother taking her child to school. They all seemed to belong somewhere, doing something meaningful, and he was still stuck in the same room, scrolling through his phone, watching others live the life he wished he had. He had dreams once, big dreams. He wanted to be a writer, to inspire others with his words, to tell stories that moved hearts. But now, even picking up a pen felt heavy. Days turned into weeks, and his motivation slipped away like sand through his fingers. He felt useless, as if the world had no space for him anymore. One evening, when his thoughts grew louder than usual, he decided to take a walk, something he hadn't done in months. The streets were quiet, bathed in the soft orange glow of the setting sun. The cool breeze carried the scent of blooming flowers. For the first time in a long while, he felt calm. His feet led him to the park on the edge of town, the one he used to visit as a child. There, beneath a huge oak tree, sat an old man sketching on a worn notebook. His white beard shone faintly in the golden light, and his eyes, though aged, sparkled with warmth. Ethan hesitated, but the man looked up and smiled gently. "You look heavy, son," he said softly. "Not in body, but in mind." Ethan forced a faint smile. "Yeah, I guess you could say that." The old man gestured for him to sit. They sat in silence for a while, the kind of silence that doesn't need words. Then the old man said, "You know, people often think change comes from doing something big, but it doesn't. It comes from doing something small, consistently." Ethan frowned. "Small things. I've tried big changes before, waking up early, studying for hours, planning my days. It never lasts." The old man chuckled. "That's exactly the problem. You want to climb the mountain before learning to take the first step. Start with one small habit, just one, something so easy that it feels impossible to fail." Ethan looked down at his hands. "Like what?" "Make your bed," the man replied simply. "When you wake up tomorrow, make your bed. That's it. One small act of order creates a ripple of discipline, and soon, your mind will crave more of it." Ethan almost laughed. It sounded too simple, too meaningless. But there was something about the man's voice, calm, certain, kind, that made him listen. Before leaving, the old man introduced himself. "Name's Rowan," he said. "I come here every evening. You can find me under this tree if you ever need to talk again." That night, Ethan lay awake, thinking about what Rowan had said. Make your bed. It sounded ridiculous, but deep down, something inside him whispered, why not try? The next morning, when his alarm rang, he resisted the urge to hit snooze. He sat up, took a deep breath, and neatly arranged his blanket. It took less than a minute, but somehow, it felt different. For the first time, he felt he had done something right. That day, he decided to add one more habit, reading just one page of a book. No targets, no pressure, just one page. Days passed, and one page became 2, then 3. His bed stayed made. His desk grew cleaner. He started to notice something he hadn't felt in a long time, a sense of control. Every few evenings, He went back to the park to see Rowan. They talked about life, about purpose, about how small steps build momentum. You see, Rowan explained one day, discipline isn't about forcing yourself to do everything at once. It's about doing one thing, just one, even when you don't feel like it. That's where strength is born. Weeks turned into months. Ethan's mornings grew brighter, his energy steadier. He started writing again, just a few lines at first, then full pages. Each word carried the power of those small habits he had built. One afternoon, he sat beside Rowan again. The old man watched a group of children playing nearby, his eyes filled with quiet joy. "You've changed, Ethan," he said. "I can see it." Ethan smiled. "It's strange. I didn't even notice it happening. It's like each little thing I did just stacked up." Rowan nodded. "That's the beauty of it. Small habits compound, like raindrops filling a river. One day you look back and realize the flow has carved its own path." Ethan looked at his hands, the same hands that once felt too heavy to lift. "I wish I had met you earlier," he said softly. The old man chuckled. "You met me when you were ready, not before. Every seed grows in its own season." A week later, Ethan returned to the park, but the bench was empty. The old oak stood silent. He waited for hours, but Rowan never came. Days passed, and still no sign of him. Eventually, Ethan spoke to the gardener, who told him that Rowan had moved away to live with his daughter. He felt a pang of sadness but also gratitude. That old man had left him something far more valuable than company. He had left him direction. Years went by. Ethan's stories began to reach people. He became known for his simple, heartfelt writing about growth and resilience. One of his most loved pieces was titled, "The Power of Small Habits." In its dedication, he wrote, "For the man under the oak tree, who taught me that greatness begins with the smallest act of discipline." He often returned to that park, sitting under the same tree, watching the sunlight filter through the branches. Sometimes, he would see another lost soul pass by, someone tired, uncertain, struggling, and every time, he smiled, patted the space beside him, and said, "You look heavy, my friend, not in body, but in mind."